What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to episode number, I don't know. It's hard to keep track anymore. I'm Jason. Welcome to another episode of the Lead From Here podcast. Today we're going to talk about finding your leadership style. This is an interesting topic in that there's so many different ways and different styles that you can have as a leader. And it's important to understand that really there's no negative leadership style generally outside of anything that involves manipulation, fear, or just anything like micromanaging. Like that, those are kind of the three things you kind of need to avoid, generally speaking. From a leadership style perspective, you can have people that are very engaged and very over the top, and you can have people that are very laid back that are just not involved at all, and you can have everywhere in between. The key here is not to talk about what the best one is. Mine is a skew of laissez-faire a little bit, where it's just kind of like, I'm very laid back. You're going to get the same person out of me in the biggest fire, and the same person out of me in the heights of success. Like I try to be as the same person to a detriment. And that's the key of all of this, is understanding your leadership style, so you understand the pros and the cons of it. The pro of the way I am is great, because you're never gonna see me like, what are we gonna do? And I don't get that way because I don't think as clearly. I'm not as effective when I'm that way. But one of the cons to that is that people think that I just don't care, or that I don't understand the urgency of the situation. So I have to make sure that, because of my leadership style, that I focus on, in times of high stress or high urgency, that I understand that people, if I don't communicate it clearly that I understand this, it can come off as he just doesn't care. Like, he's not that guy. Sure, he's helpful, sure, he's great, but he just doesn't care. He doesn't get it, which is even worse. But ultimately, if you communicate and say, listen, this is the situation, we need to get this done. If this doesn't get done, this happens, and it's the top priority, and it's a big deal. And if you don't finish this, we're going to be in a bad spot. Now, I didn't say that in a very bad tone. I didn't get all frantic about it, but I was very direct in saying this isn't a very impactful thing. It's very urgent. So people understand that I'm laid back because I don't want to create unnecessary panic, but I'm also understanding the situation and communicating that to them to say, listen, this is what it is. And that doesn't mean that I don't understand it. I'm not part of it, but I'm not going to react in a certain way. I'm going to be me because that's who I am. That's the key, is understanding what that means. There's pluses and minuses to every single leadership style out there. So it's really important that you understand your pluses, your pros, and your minuses, your cons. Like, understanding how they push and pull in the situation, and understanding that, somebody that is, got a lot of energy, that gets worked up in those situations, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad leader. That just means that that's how you react. So you also have to make sure that you're calming your group down and saying, I am very worked up because it's a very big deal, but understand you guys got this. And my overly charismatic way of dealing with this is not necessarily a reflection on you. And as long as you're communicating through your cons and leaning into your pros, as from a leadership style perspective, you're going to be in a good situation. Now, if your cons are that you're highly manipulative and you use fear to, get things done, you have a lot to work on. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say it, you're an unfit leader, in my opinion, because you're basically taking the worst things of the human psyche and manipulating those to your benefit, because it's not a benefit to your people to act that way. There's no world where fear and manipulation tactics are a healthy way to run a team or to coach an individual. So if you're using those tactics, I would highly recommend that you find other ways and find a leadership style that works. And the best way to do that, whether you're new to leadership or you're a toxic leader and you're trying to get out of that mentality, is to try them on. Not everybody can be a laissez-faire, everything's gonna be fine, we'll get through it. Not everybody can be that. Not everybody can be the highly wired, charismatic, very very wound up in stressful situations. Not everybody's that way either. So it's finding what works and finding the way to get things done that also helps your people become better versions of themselves. while also building a solid team and helping the company find success and doing your job. And that's it can take some trial and error, and you'll try things on and you'll try it out and you'll be like, oh man, that didn't feel good. Okay, avoid that one. Then you'll try something and be like, I like this part of it, but not the other part. Okay, you're on the right track then. Keep pushing, keep trying to find what that looks like. And it will take time, and your voice will evolve and change, because who you were as an individual contributor may not always translate perfectly to who you are as a leader. And it's understanding the nuances between the two, lean into the things you can lean into that made you successful as an individual contributor, but it's not necessarily gonna be the same thing. So keep trying it on, keep finding ways to learn about different styles if you don't know. I'll definitely share a couple links in the video description here and the podcast description, all the descriptions. Leave some links to some things that will help you understand what different types there are, because there's a wide range depending on who you talk to. But the key thing is keeping your people at the center of your focus, whatever that is. However you go about it, your people have to be at the center of your focus, and understanding that their career development is now your responsibility. And so however you have to get them there is good, as long as it's positive and supportive, and and using things that are really beneficial to people's career and the human psyche in general. So that's what it is. Appreciate you being here. Have any questions, shoot me an email, jason@leadfromhere.co, or any of the social media platforms. Hit me up with a DM. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here, and yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you, and find out who you are as a leader, and find the leadership style that fits you. Take care.